Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so look around you right now. Just pick an object. Maybe it's the appliance in your kitchen, or a 2x4 at the hardware store, or even that package sitting on your front porch. Every single physical object you buy has this massive, invisible cost baked right into its price tag. We're talking about a hidden freight tax. For over 100 years, the cost of moving things from a factory to a warehouse to a store shelf, well, it's been an unavoidable tax on human consumption. But what happens when that century-old math suddenly breaks? We are looking at a disruption so profound, it's literally going to completely rewrite the global map. Let's get into it.
8%. That right there is the invisible burden we all carry. Diesel trucking effectively adds an 8% tax to the price of everything you buy. And look, the diesel engine has been the absolute undisputed king of moving freight since before your grandparents were born. Why? Simply because it was cheap and reliable enough that nothing else could really touch it. But you guys, that entire paradigm is shifting. As of April 2026, mass production of the fully electric Tesla Semi in Nevada is poised to break this 100-year-old math. This isn't just some flashy new vehicle. No, it's basically a sledgehammer taken directly to that 8% hidden tax.
To really grasp the sheer scale of the industry, get this, trucks move 72% of all U.S. freight by weight. That is almost 3/4 of everything. Seriously, if trucking just stopped for, say, 3 days, grocery store shelves would go totally empty and hospitals would literally run out of supplies. And this massive, non-stop operation runs on the backs of roughly 3.5 million drivers. They are the invisible circulatory system of our economy, completely out of sight, right up until the exact moment they stop.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because the secret to the entire freight industry really comes down to just one single metric: cost per mile. See, when a trucking company takes a job, they don't fixate on the sticker price of the truck itself. They focus entirely on exactly how much it costs to move that truck exactly 1 mile down the road. This covers everything: fuel, labor, maintenance, insurance, and the equipment. It is the absolute heartbeat metric of the entire economy. And right now, for a traditional diesel truck, that heartbeat is running at an all-time high.
So when we break down that cost, and the American Transportation Research Institute recently put the figure for a diesel truck at $2.26 per mile all in, there's actually a real shocker here. Most people just naturally assume fuel is the biggest chunk of that pie, right? Well, it's not. Fuel is a surprisingly small slice at just 48 cents. The real driver of cost is, well, the driver. Wages and benefits make up 44% of the total, which is almost a full dollar per mile. Add in a 39-cent truck payment, roughly 20 cents for maintenance, and another 15 cents for insurance, and you realize something wild. Diesel trucking is really just a labor and maintenance business that happens to occasionally buy fuel.
So this massive disruption is happening in two distinct phases. Let's look at phase 1, the electric disruption.
In this first electric phase, companies can take an absolute chainsaw to their operating costs without even touching the driver's job. The drivers stay right behind the wheel for this entire first act, and the machine making this possible is highly capable. Let's quickly run through the real-world specs of the mass-produced Tesla Semi. It comes in a standard range of 325 miles and a long-range version hitting 500 miles on a single charge. And get this, that is fully loaded at 82,000 pounds, the maximum legal highway weight. It's powered by 3 electric motors and uses a megacharger that can pour in 60% of the truck's range in about 30 minutes. This is no concept car, folks. It is a heavy-duty, real-world machine built to do the hardest jobs on the road.
Let's see how this actually builds when we look at real energy costs. PepsiCo has been running around 50 of these trucks in California as of 2026, and their data is pretty eye-opening. Even hauling heavy loads, we're talking often over 70,000 pounds, they are only using about 1.7 kilowatt-hours per mile. At typical depot electricity rates, the Tesla Semi costs about 25 cents per mile to run. Now compare that to your traditional diesel big rig. With diesel averaging around $5.60 a gallon, it burns through 80 to 90 cents every single mile. On energy alone, electricity runs at literally 1/4 to 1/3 of the cost.
But the savings don't stop at the plug. A traditional diesel engine is this gloriously complicated wonder of engineering. It's got thousands of moving parts, multi-speed transmissions, and these incredibly complex exhaust systems that require specialized DEF fluid just to prevent poisoning the air. And you know what? Every single one of those parts can break. By stripping out the diesel engine and all its exhaust components, the electric drivetrain cuts maintenance costs from roughly 20 cents per mile down to an estimated 6 cents. That is a massive 70% cut on a major line item. It completely rewrites the profit margins for trucking companies.
Which brings us to the sometimes uncomfortable, but totally inevitable, next step:
Phase 2, the autonomous future.
Think about it. If you're a trucking company relentlessly focused on lowering your cost per mile, your largest single expense is sitting right smack in the middle of your spreadsheet: human labor. This timeline shows exactly how this roadmap is projected to play out. Today, electrification is already stripping out fuel and maintenance. Meanwhile, right now in the mid-2020s, companies like Aurora and Kodiak are already running fully driverless trucks on specific, straightforward highway routes in places like Texas and Arizona. While Tesla's full self-driving is advancing, the experts project that by the 2030 to 2035 window, autonomy will specifically target and automate 30 to 50% of long-haul freight miles. Those long, straight, boring highway miles, they'll be automated first, effectively stripping the driver cost out of the equation entirely.
Now, it's absolutely crucial we look objectively at the human impact here. The core group of heavy tractor-trailer drivers in the U.S. is around 2.2 million people, earning a median wage of $57,000. It's a vital avenue for a middle-class living. According to analysis from the Berkeley Labor Center, about 294,000 long-distance driving jobs are directly in the immediate blast radius of this autonomous transition. Because these workers are right in the middle of our economy, the data strongly suggests that government transition programs will very likely be necessary to help individuals navigate to new opportunities on the other side of this shift.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final macro level, rewriting the global map.
You see, we aren't just talking about a cheaper truck or fewer drivers anymore. We are preparing for a massive shift in how the global economy physically operates. For a century, logistics has been defined by one ironclad trade-off. On one hand, you have trains, which are unbelievably cheap, just 2 to 5 cents per ton-mile, but they are highly rigid. They only go where the tracks go, right? Then on the other hand, you have diesel trucks, which are incredibly flexible and can go anywhere there is a road, but they are highly expensive to operate. For 100 years, the global economy has been forced to accept this choice: cheap and rigid, or flexible and expensive.
But when you step back, the real aha moment hits you. When a truck runs purely on electricity, highly durable tires, and AI autonomy, its cost per mile plummets right toward that 5-cent rail rate. The autonomous electric truck gives you the cost floor of a train, but retains the flexibility of a truck that can drive right up to your front door. You no longer have to pick between cheap and flexible. It completely breaks the ultimate rule of global trade.
And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, well, we have actually run this exact experiment before. Back in 1956, Malcolm McLean invented the standardized shipping container. Before that metal box, loading cargo cost about $5.86 a ton. After the container, just 16 cents. That massive 90% drop in freight costs didn't just save a few bucks. It triggered a sheer, unprecedented 900% growth in trade corridors within just 15 years. It completely rebuilt the physical world, creating the make it in Asia, sell it in America economy we all live in today. The autonomous electric truck? It's the modern equivalent of the shipping container, but for the inland journey.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, cheaper freight means we'll just spend less on trucking. But there's this fascinating economic concept from the 1800s called the Jevons paradox. Basically, it states that as technology makes something way more efficient, we don't actually consume less of it, we consume dramatically more. Because cheap distance unlocks hundreds of new uses, we'll see longer supply chains, a massive explosion in product variety, far more frequent shipments, and a huge push for reshoring factories closer to consumers right here in the US. The whole economic pie simply gets bigger.
For a century, our factories, warehouses, and cities were all carefully arranged around the expensive price of a diesel truck. But that cost is now collapsing. So when distance becomes almost free, where will the world build tomorrow? Will bringing manufacturing back home become just a simple math problem? The entire physical map of our world is literally about to be reorganized. Well, I hope this explainer sparked your curiosity about the invisible forces shaping our economy. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and I'll catch you on the next one.